Today I want to talk about Jim Harbaugh and the prospect of his signing a 5-year extension to be the head coach at Michigan. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about Jim Harbaugh and the prospect of him signing a 5-year extension. It's on his desk, waiting for his signature to take a pay cut from 8, 7-ish to 4, with the prospect of working back up to 8 with incentives. But there's a reason as to why this is all going down. But to start with how this is going over in college football land, the Ohio State football account liked a tweet from Bleacher Report saying the news that, Michigan had offered him a 5-year extension. That is how much Ohio State fans think of this extension and facing Jim Harbaugh, and for good reason here that I'm going to get into. But also, so the NFL coaching carousel has started. We know that. Eric Bieniemy is getting interviewed for jobs except for the Texans, which is his own debacle. We're going to see some changes at Jacksonville. They fired the head coach. They're chasing Urban Meyer. And yet Jim Harbaugh's name has not been linked to any of these other openings that are out there, whether it be the Chargers or even the Detroit Lions in the state of Michigan. So he's looking at this 5-year extension, but he's also looking at what it has been like for him to be the head coach at Michigan. Now, there's 2-4 this year, which is bad. And then when you take into account one of those is a triple overtime victory against Rutgers, and the other one gets you to 500 all time against Michigan State, you see some problems here. As a matter of fact, Jim Harbaugh is 3-3 against Michigan State. Mel Tucker became the first head coach at Michigan State to travel to Ann Arbor and win in his first chance to do so since Nick Saban. Like, what are we doing here? Add to that, he is 2-12 against top 10 opponents all time. You got to be able to beat the ranked teams. And then we could talk about what it has been like for him in the Big Ten East and what Penn State has been, what Maryland might be. But what it comes down to is Ohio State. And Jim Harbaugh is winless against Ohio State. As a matter of fact, Jim Harbaugh is 0-5 and would have probably been 0-6 had they played that game. But that's another issue, right? He only got to play 6 this year. He fired the defensive coordinator, Don Brown. We'll see who takes that job. He's got a bunch of other assistants that are also looking at 1-year deals that include dudes that can actually get out there and recruit like Sharon Moore. But this is just not a good look for Michigan. It's not a good look for him. But I had said this, and I believe this. I think Jim Harbaugh is the guy to do the job that Michigan wants done. Beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten East, win the Big Ten championship, get to the college football playoff. But you're trying to return Michigan to a glory it has not seen since Lloyd Carr. Before that, Bo Schembechler, right? And then before that, you really got to go back to Fielding Yost. There aren't that many just dudes coming out of the state of Michigan that coach at Michigan to do that national championship thing or have you in that national championship conversation. That was one of the reasons why Jim Harbaugh's return to Michigan was so lauded. He had shown that he could get this done at San Diego, at Stanford, in the NFL with San Francisco, coaching them all the way to a Super Bowl. And then he was coming home to his alma mater, to the place where his father, Jack, was an assistant, to the place he grew up wanting to play football at, where he got to play quarterback, and where he had to ask special permission to wear that gigantic M duckbill hat on the sideline because it's so tied to Schembechler's legacy. He understands what it means for the Wolverines to play Ohio State in each and every year, and I'm sure at this point he's coming to dread it. Because the way that Ohio State coaches Urban Meyer and Ryan Day have described playing that game is not you feel victorious because you won. You feel a measure of relief because you didn't lose, which is how I feel most fans take that game. It ain't about bragging rights so much as it's like, cool, I don't have to deal with, say, the team up north giving me hell anymore, or that Ohio State team trying to talk mad noise to me because I like to wear a Windsor with my tie. That said, I did think that it was interesting that we have come to this space where Jim Harbaugh can still make $4 million annually at a time when the University of Texas will pay basically $24 million to get Tom Herman and his assistants out of there. Where we saw South Carolina is willing to pay Will Muschamp about $13 million to get him out of there, right? Didn't know what Jim Harbaugh's buyout was, but when I know that James Franklin's is approaching, between $30 and $38 million, he's still got a job. Yeah, okay, I get there, but that's like the only dude that has been able to survive the purge if he's had a bad season. I thought to begin this season that the pandemic would just basically say, this is a mulligan year for every coach. If you win the national championship, great. If you go winless, we're still going to keep you because we don't have the money to fire you. And yet, in some places, they have found the money to fire some of these men. And I wonder how we're going to think about this season going forward, right? Because Clay Helton looks pretty good in a pandemic. Jim Harbaugh looks pretty bad in a pandemic. What we know is Clay Helton has been able to do that, right? Clay Helton has finished as high as third in the AP poll at USC. Pandemic or not, Jim Harbaugh has not come out of the Big Ten East as the champ. And Ohio State is having a generational level of talent and a generational team come through there in the past basically decade, right? But you got to win that game, and that's what they're paying you to do. That is exactly what they are paying you to do, is to win that game against Ohio State. They're going to have a new quarterback. You're going to have a new quarterback. But we'll see what it looks like in 21. I am interested to see if Jim Harbaugh continues to get any bites, because as of this upload, he hasn't got any real ones from the NFL. And that would be the reason why I think he's staving off signing it. But it says a lot that we went into this carousel where we thought Jim Harbaugh was going to get a lot of attention from the NFL, and he really hasn't got all that much. And I never thought of Michigan as a safety school, but that's what Jim Harbaugh has turned Michigan into. It is a safety school. There are a number of directions you could go here. I hope that he gets a defensive coordinator that believes in what he believes in, that can help those players be great, because they got a bunch of dudes I really like, including Dax Hill from Tulsa, where I'm from, and Darian Green-Warren from Cali, who I think is one of the most instinctual cornerbacks I've ever seen coming out of high school. Hopefully they get it done. I would really love to see Michigan be good. I would also really love to see Arkansas be good. I really love to see Texas be good. I think when the Blue Bloods and the money and the real rabid fan bases like Arkansas are good, the sport is healthy. Let's get it back to there. Doses.